Hello and welcome to another episode of the Diski Preview Show. As you know very well, it's Mo and it's Mr. E and it's a Friday, and we've got you with the latest fixtures coming out of the different leagues in Africa, Europe, and everywhere else in the world of football. So for today, we've got you with a couple of games coming out of the Caf Champions League. We've got some Caf Confederations coming up. We've got some DStv Premiership. We've also got some Premier League action. And of course, we couldn't overlook the Italian Serie A with a big game there taking place between Roma and AC Milan. So we've got a lot of jam-packed action coming your way. Before we get into the show, I just want to remind you that our Betfred website has taken a little bit of an overhaul and it looks different. And this is how it looks. Cool. Let's start the show off with our first conversation. Obviously, Mr. E is very excited to be here. Mr. E, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks, man. How are you?
I'm good, Mr. E. What a crazy week we've had here in the world of football.
So many unpredictable results coming out during the midweek games, man. I think we saw Manchester United giving away 2-goal lead again. I mean, that was something else. Then we had another highlight case, the Chiefs winning by 1-0. I think in the 90 plus minute, Chifa scored a goal which was disallowed, man.
Yeah,
they're back to their winning ways, eh?
by crook or hook.
By crook or hook, it's gonna happen.
And in the Premier League, there we saw title race or a title charge coming to disrepute. And we saw how Arsenal managed to drop points against Manchester City. 4 goals conceded in that game. Talk to us. What were your thoughts watching that game?
You know, it's every day. I think it's losing it. I mean, Arsenal is losing it. They're on the roll. Everything seemed to be head. I mean, the championship seemed to be heading their way. But right now, with the dropping of the points, I think it's opening up a space for Manchester United to come and overtake them and reclaim the championship that they won last year. Yeah,
Manchester City obviously the favourites to win the title at the start of the season. And as things stand, looks like most of you that went for that outright market of Manchester City to be Premier League champions, you might just look to be correct at this moment in time. But don't forget, it is not over until match day 38, so we'll have to wait and see what happens in that one. Our conversation starts off in the Caf Champions League front. Obviously, we need to start by looking at a little bit of some local football. This is local, but on the continent, so continental football. And we're talking about Mamelodi Sundowns. But before we get into that, let's remind you what happened last weekend in the Caf Champions League. Kibile and Esperance Tunis ended up as a 1-0 result in favour of Esperance Tunis. And Ahly then won their game against Raja Casablanca, believe it or not, who had a fantastic group stage in the Caf Champions League. They lost to Ahly by 2-0. Simba then faced Wydad Casablanca, the other Moroccan side, and the other Moroccan side lost out to Simba. Very shocking indeed. I mean, when you think about both these teams, how they did in the group stages, I'm talking about Raja Casablanca and Wydad. They were exceptional in the group stages. They went unbeaten. They conceded less than 3 goals each, and now here they are in the knockout phase, and it looks like they're coming into their games in an unfavourable position. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think it's getting harder and harder. I mean, they're on the road to the finals. I mean, I didn't think Wydad would be beaten by Simba, but look at that, 1-0, just like that. Yeah, so it does show that things are actually getting hotter by the day in the Caf Champions League.
Right, we move on to talk about Mamelodi Sundowns versus Belouizdad. Belouizdad lost out to Mamelodi Sundowns by 4-1 at home. Don't forget that Belouizdad were home. They come now to Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria, and they have it all to do the business. They have to carry over the business. But Mr. E, talk to me about your thoughts before we go into the stats for this game.
This is going to be a very big one for Belouizdad if they really want to progress to the next round of fixtures. I mean, they have to overturn a 4-1 deficit. I mean, that and they're facing Sundowns again. It's not a small team that you can easily score 4 goals against. Maybe you can score 4 goals against Ahly, but not Sundowns. Not Sundowns. So it's going to be a tall order for Belouizdad. I mean, like having to score 4 goals away from home, and it doesn't look like it's promising anyway. I know in football things can happen, but I don't think they were able to do that to Sundowns over the weekend.
I mean, the key part of this conversation is that Mamelodi Sundowns are in a favourable position, leading by 3 goals in the quarterfinals of the Caf Champions League. Let me talk you through some of the stats. It says here 52% win probability in favour of Mamelodi Sundowns, 26% in favour of the draw, and 22% in favour of Belouizdad. Form-wise, you're looking at a Mamelodi Sundowns who's been struggling of late. 3 draws in a row and a loss has really dented their reputation as the unbeatable, the invincibles. But they managed to come back and bounce back with 2 wins in a row, including that win against Belouizdad. That actually changed down their fortunes because they'd lost in South Africa in the Nedbank Cup, and then they managed to go back to Africa, win the game, and they came back to the DStv Premiership, and they made everyone proud. The game we're talking about, obviously, is the game against Richards Bay FC that took place on the 25th of April. They managed to bounce back and pick up their first win since they became champions of the DStv Premiership. So, how do you think that will affect their confidence going into this game?
Well, I think they are back to winning ways. I mean, like Richards Bay. Remember, at one point they were like on position number 2.
Ish.
Yeah, they are not.
Hold on?
Yeah, they are not. They're not a very bad team, but for Mamelodi Sundowns to beat them 1-0, I think that was the beginning of a boost maybe that they need coming into this game, whereby they were facing Belouizdad. And remember, Belouizdad is one of the 2 teams that have beaten Sundowns at home.
Yes.
So it's not a team that we can easily say, it's going to be a walkover or they'll just roll over and Sundowns can do anything that they want. Things can easily change. So Mamelodi Sundowns need to be on top of their game, firstly, and of which I know that they will be on top of their game because all these players that they signed, they know what they signed for. So they need to be on top of their game and make sure that they don't become too complacent. Otherwise, they might be beaten 5-1. We saw that happen with Ahly being beaten 5-2 by Sundowns. So anything can happen. So Mukwena needs to make sure that his charges are on point when they come across Belouizdad in Loftus over the weekend.
All right, Mr. You talk to me about what your prediction is for this game. Obviously, we've talked about the win probability sitting in favour of Mamelodi Sundowns. We've talked about their last 2 games. They did beat Belouizdad 4-1 and they also beat Richards Bay by 1-0. What is your prediction for this game?
Yes, Sundowns right now they're in a space whereby they are chasing perfection. I mean, I think they just want to win everything that is left right now so that they can cement their position as one of the best teams to come out from South Africa. So they're going to win this game.
All right,
by 3-0.
All right, Mr. E.
Am I allowed to say the number of goals?
You can go. He's gone with the 3-0. He's saying that they're going to win it by 3-0. If you agree, make sure to visit betfred.co.za to lock in your bets. But if you don't have the access to the internet like we do, and you just want to walk to a branch, drive to a branch, fly to a branch, we do have branches all around the country, and you can then just watch this short clip to see where you can find a Betfred branch near you. Welcome back to the Diski Preview Show. We continue our conversation by taking a look at the Caf Confederations Cup. Mr. E and myself obviously have some ideas of what's going to be happening, but obviously we have to share that with you. Mr. E, we just talked about Mamelodi Sundowns and how good they're doing in the Caf Champions League. Obviously the other competitions, the Caf Confederations. I'm going to take you through some of the results first. River United against Young Africans lost 2-0, while we saw Pyramids vs Marumo Gallants ending in a stalemate. 1-1 was the result on the day. Algiers and Far Rabat, they went out to a 2-0 win in favor of Algiers. And then last but not least, Menastir and Mimosas ended with a 0-0 draw. So we're here to talk about that game, that 1-1 draw between Marumo Gallants and Pyramids. Obviously that one took place away from Marumo Gallants in Egypt. Now the Pharaohs or the Pyramids are coming down to South Africa to come face this team from Thohoyandou. Mr. E, talk to me about what you think of Marumo Gallants and their adventure in Africa this season.
Well, they've done very well. I mean, like coming this far, being Marumo Gallants, I mean, they've done very well on the African continent, and as opposed to what was happening on in the DStv Premiership. Yeah, you see, the fact that they've come this far, quarterfinals, on the African stage. Yeah, I mean, it shows that they're a very good team, but they are yet to translate their form onto the domestic league, because I would have thought that a team competing this, going as far as the quarterfinals on this competition here should be maybe one of the top 4 teams in the DStv league.
Let's be honest, many would have thought that it would be a Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates or Super Sports United. One of the traditional big names playing at this level of football. And it's first of all Marumo Gallants, and not only that, they are quite convincing now.
Yeah, they're quite convincing because we have seen a revived Rangachi Viro, and they've got capable players as well in the form of Washington Arubi, Tore Otladisa, and Ungema also is there, Manaka and Mseamedi. They are also there. But I looked at the statistics. I think the goalkeeper did very well because the Marumo Gallants lost, I think it was in the 90 plus minute when Pyramids was given a penalty. But if you look at the statistics, there was 22 shots at goal and 8 on target. So that means the defense and the goalkeeper were working overtime. And now Pyramids is coming to South Africa to try and finish off the game because you know the Egyptian sides, they've always given South African teams a run for their money. And
they're not going to take a loss very lightly. They're going to definitely want all 3 they're going to definitely want to go through.
Yeah, definitely they will want to go through. Remember, there's only 2 teams that are competing on the African continent from Egypt, being Ahly and Pyramids. So they don't want to bow out right now and then takes over. And remember, they are also rivals in their own league. So definitely they want to win this one and make sure that they remain in contention to win the trophy.
Well, it's a very interesting thing. I mean, right now Marumo Gallants are sitting 14th, just above the relegation spots in the DStv Premiership. So this is the trophy. If they want to win a trophy this season, this is the trophy, and they'll have to give it all that they've got. Mr. E, what's your prediction for this game?
This one is going to be a tight one, but I think Pyramids is going to come out tops.
All right. Mr. E is going with Pyramids. That's where we leave it for that. Welcome back to the Diski Preview Show. We're talking all things football. We've gone to the Caf Champions League, the Caf Confederations Cup. Now it's time for us to take a journey back into the South African continent and talk about what's happening in the DStv Premiership. It's juicy, baby. And if you know what that means, you must know what we're talking about. TS Galaxy versus Orlando Pirates. And before we get into this conversation, Mr. E, TS Galaxy surprised us all. I didn't think they'll stick around for this long, but they're standing the test of time.
They've stood the test of time. I mean, Tim Sukas is doing a very good job at TS Galaxy, but now my problem is that they don't seem to be growing by every season. They are just there. They just hang on. They just hang on there to make sure that they are one of the DStv teams that are available to play with. But I would have loved them maybe to try and maybe finish top 4. Secure top 4, top 8. So that we can see that there's progress over the years.
Mr. E, it has to be asked. I mean, this team, when they first came in, they beat Kaizer Chiefs. People were raving about it. What went wrong? What really went wrong with this club? Because at some point, I mean, the Diski not Diski Preview. And look at me. In the Diski Challenge, the Diski Challenge team was doing so well that some of the players graduated. And I really thought they were going somewhere. I really thought they had a good vision for their team. But they were, at some point this very season, they were the draw masters. Because when you played TS Galaxy, you were guaranteed a draw. You were guaranteed a 1-1, a 2-1, a 0-0. And now they're sitting 11th on the table on a form of a very disappointing form, actually, if we look at it right now. They come into this game with 2 losses in a row and a draw. So what's going wrong there?
Remember, the owner is a businessman. He's a businessman, so money makes sense to him. I think what he needs to do is to try and fortify his team by getting quality players. I know that he did sign up Bernard Parker and some of the guys who were spent forces in the big in the big teams going to his side. He must now start signing quality players and make a formidable first 11 for himself. Then he's going to perform better. You cannot keep on relying on spent forces because they will only perform on the day when they will be on form, but otherwise any other day it will be just like they won't give you the results, And so he definitely has to invest in this team. I know he also has got another team, right? I think it's TS Sporting looking after. He's also has a women's team. he must invest in TS Galaxy. Maybe we're going to see better results. I mean, maybe they might end in top 4, top 8.
Right now, we also have to talk about the fact that Orlando Pirates are coming into this game on 100% form. Yes, you heard me right, 100% form. What that means is that they've won the following games in a row. Just to give you a little bit of some perspective, they beat Cape Town City, they beat Dondo Stars, they beat Chippa United, they beat Richards Bay, Super Sports United, Venda Football Academy, Morocco Swallows, and the last time they lost was at 1-0 against Kaizer Chiefs. And even in that game, they were the only team to have scored.
Exactly. maybe what's his name? Nda, maybe he's fencing his the chances of crossing over to Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah, he was like, let me seal this contract.
Let me just seal
But the last time they actually lost was against Kaizer Chiefs, and they come into the last 7 games are all wins for them, 100% record. Exactly. This brings me down to just one question. What is your prediction for this game? Well,
this one is a little bit difficult. Not necessarily being not necessarily because they're facing TS Galaxy, but remember there is another game that they are looking forward to, which is going to play on the 6th, which is a derby. So now my question is, the Orlando Pirates, are they going to go all out, or they're going to take it? They're going to take a cautious approach to this game to make sure that they don't have a lot of yellow cards. I know there's some guys who are sitting on a couple of yellow cards to make sure that they are injury free and so on. So it's a little bit difficult on how they are going to approach this game here, because there is a derby that they're coming very soon, the Nedbank derby. So I'm not too sure how they're going to set up their shop. So I don't think, according to me, I don't think they will be able to go full throttle on TS Galaxy.
Right, even the win probability agrees with Mr. E. It says here that 27% in favor of TS Galaxy, while then 40% in favor of Orlando Pirates and 33% in favor of the draw between these two sides. So it's up to you to decide which one you're going to go with. From us here at the desk, we're definitely going with maybe double chance. Double chance would be
win
safer.
Draw. Orlando Pirates win draw. That's the safest bet that you can place between the two teams.
All right, stay tuned here to the Diski Preview Show. We still got some more coming your way, including some of the tote options that we have available here at betfred.co.za. If you'd like to place a tote bet, make sure to place it via the tote pool. It's available now at betfred.co.za. Until we see you next time for the next game. Obviously, now we're done with South African football. We're done with the continent. It's time for us to move on to Europe. Right, welcome back to the Diski Preview Show. Myself and Mr. E are still talking all things football. We've gone through the DStv Premiership, the Caf Confederations Cup, the Caf Champions League, and now we're all the way to Serie A. Obviously, most of you that are watching this hoping to watch us talk about the Premier League, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Let's talk about it. It's AS Roma taking on AC Milan. AC Milan right now feeling on top of the world. They are going to a UEFA Champions League semi-final against their bitter rivals. They're cross-city. In fact, it's not cross-city. They're cross-stadium rivals. They both They both play their games in the Giuseppe Meazza. People also know it as the San Siro. But that is AC Milan versus Inter Milan. That's a UEFA Champions League semi-final. But for now, it's the small business of the Serie A, round 32, and it will be taking place on the 29th of April 2023. Mr. E is joining me to discuss that game. Now, before I let him speak about this game and he speak his mind, I just have to remind him that the win probability is sitting at the most even I've ever seen it. 34% for AC Milan to win, 34% for AS Roma to win, and in between 32% dividing them with the draw. So this is even as it gets when it comes to win probability.
It can never be
more balanced
than this. It's going to be a balanced game because I think there is only both teams are at 56 points each.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And then both teams, I think AS Roma is in the quarterfinals of the Europa Cup.
Yes.
Championship, sorry.
Yes.
AC Milan is in the quarterfinals also of
semi-finals. So both of them are in the semi-finals of the Europa and Champions League.
Yes, are still running in. They are still in the run to win the championships, and at the same time they are drawn points at 56%.
Yes.
So it's that's why the statistics are in such a way that it shows that they're evenly balanced.
I mean, when you think about it, you've got to be honest to yourself. I mean, looking at this game, 6-8 months ago, you'd have not seen much significance about it because you'd have thought, look, it was just another mid-table clash.
Yeah.
But with what AC Milan have been able to do this season, they didn't start off well, they didn't do so well in the beginning, but they've been able to secure, firmly put themselves in the top 4 spot. And not only that, they've been able to impress in Europe, which I will say that for a team like AC Milan, who a couple of seasons ago, no one would have considered them as part of the conversation for the UEFA Champions League title. Yeah. But now they're in the semi-finals, they're looking good. They're 4th in the league table, just behind Juventus, who got back their 15 points, and it still doesn't throw Napoli off their pace. They are still at the top of the league. But with AC Milan at this moment in time and Roma, you have to speak about one thing and one thing only. How is Europe going to affect this fixture? Because like you said, both these teams are looking forward to what's going to happen on the continent. Yeah. And will they be thinking to themselves that we can die for these 3 points? Because 3 points will just put AC Milan level on points with Juventus. And if Juventus doesn't secure 3 points themselves this weekend, and also for Roma, that 3 points will also put them in the same spot. So for them, a draw is the best result because it will put them out of reach for the team that's below them, which is Inter Milan, and it will also put them still in around the same ballpark as Juventus. So what do you think is going to happen? Don't forget, Juventus themselves also still in the semi-finals of the Europa League.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be a draw. I don't see any other befitting result apart from that, because they are evenly balanced. I know AC Milan has been rocked by a series of injuries, but they've been doing very well. I mean, we have seen them. We wouldn't have thought at this time of the year they are where they are right now. So coming across AC Roma as well, that seems to be performing very well across the continent and in Serie A. I think this is going to be. I've never seen such statistics. I mean, it's the first time. I mean, so balanced.
But they find themselves in the exact same boat, same amount of points, same situation. They're both still on the continent in the semi-finals.
Yes.
And look, it's uncanny. I mean, it's the first time I've been doing this that I've ever come across such things. And it's going to be a very interesting one. But I think the best result would be a draw here.
It will be
and for both sides, it makes the most sense.
Yeah,
it really does make the most sense. Because now, looking at the next few games for both of them, AS Roma then play this game. They have to then play Monza. Then they've got Inter Milan. And then after Inter Milan, they've got those Europa League semi-finals against Leverkusen, which is Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen. Exactly. On the other side, AC Milan, they've got themselves Roma now. They've got Cremonese. They've got Lazio. All three of the following games are taking place at home for AC Milan, by the way. Cremonese, Lazio, and Inter Milan. Then they have to face Spezia, and then right after that, I saw Inter Milan. I thought it was a Serie A game. It's not a Serie A game, guys. It is a Champions League game. So they've got Cremonese next, and then once they've got Cremonese, they have to go then play a home match at the San Siro, and then they have to play an away match at the San Siro.
Okay.
So it's quite an interesting one, man. Yeah. There's really not much to differentiate these two teams.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go with the draw.
Yeah, we're just gonna go with the draw.
The Betfred promise is value for money, friendly service and fast payments. When you choose to bet, Betfred.